Before we start this video, do like and subscribe to our channel and not miss on any updates.
Now comes to the discussion of the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, Sustainable Development Goals, as I told you, these are basically the international goals which have been set up. These are going to provide a basic, a blueprint kind of understanding through which every single country has to pick up upon them and see that all the aspects picked up by this Sustainable Development Goals. These are considered to be those particular areas where every developing country, or a developed country for that matter also, should focus upon. And they have given targets to be achieved, that is development in those areas to be achieved, okay, by the time of 2030. So basically these are the goals to be achieved, okay, that means there has to be impact on these areas by the period 2030 is what has been outlined, okay. So like that, these are those goals which have been picked up wherein they believe that if these areas are being focused upon, then we would have a sustainable environment, a sustainable growth, wherein this generation plus the next generation, everybody will be able to enjoy the resources that are available today also, correct? So here, sustainable development, basically the goals, when you look at it, you will feel, okay, this is some kind of an, a kind of a fairy tale, an ideal area, an ideal space, where you think if such kind of thing starts happening, then it is going to be an imaginary place. Because at this point in time, if you look at all the goals which are picked up, in every goal there is a problem. So basically the understanding is, they have set up a blueprint, a kind of a guiding principle, through which every country has been told that, look, these are our goals. And every country has to positively take action towards these goals, and these have to be achieved by 2030. Okay, there has to be a considerable progress made in these areas by each of the countries. And that is considered to be the Sustainable Development Goals. Altogether, there have been how many goals? 17 goals. Okay. Now, in the introduction when I told you that before SDG, there was the concept of MDG, Millennial Development Goals, which came in the year 2020. But that also saw good progress. That also picked up the points on poverty, hunger, everything. But because the scope was very narrow, very few areas were covered by them, a lot of criticism was given. Because of that, then came a complete new understanding of Sustainable Development Goals through a new committee altogether, where the UN Commission actually met, and then these UN members, okay, the United Nations members, you all know that India also is a part of it. So altogether 193 members, okay, member nations are there, like USA is there, China, Russia, Japan, out of it India also is one. So all of these met together and they came to an understanding that there have to be certain goals to be highlighted, which have to be focused on and which have to be achieved. And these are taken to be today 17 goals. But the point is, these 17, 1 to 17 have to be learned as it is. That means 1 means that, 2 means about poverty, it's like that. So it is 1 means that only. So the goals have to be learned respectively along with the number, okay. So let us begin our understanding with Sustainable Development Goals, okay, alright. First of all, adoption. I told you first you had Millennial Development Goals, which got criticized and eliminated, which got replaced by this. So the adoption happened in 2015. Sustainable development was adopted by all United Nations members states to provide blueprint, which mentioned the Sustainable Development Goals. Blueprint is like an outline. That look, these are the goals on which every developing and developed countries have to have immediate actions brought up. Okay, then there are 17 SDGs which are considered as an urgent call for action by all the countries, whether it is a developed country or developing country. So every single country has to work upon these goals for sustainable development. Purpose. They recognize that ending of poverty and other deprivations must go hand in hand with strategies that improve health and education, reduce inequality, spur economic growth, all while taking climate change and working to preserve our oceans and forests. If you look at all the 17 goals that we are going to discuss now, it is like a summary given to it. So they are telling we are going to work towards the ending of poverty, provide good education, provide good services, good healthcare facilities, okay, good health has to be provided, inequality has to be reduced, economic growth has to be seen, however not at the cost of the environment. So give proper adequate care even to the climatic changes, even to the environment, even to oceans, everything, these all have to be conserved. So keeping into mind that SDGs were developed, correct? So basically if you look at this, they are trying to target on the 3 pillars, E, S and G, correct? Then today, Division of Sustainable Development Goals, DSDG, in the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs provides substantive support and capacity building for the SDGs and the related thematic connected issues including water, energy, climate, ocean, urbanization, transport, science and technology, the Global Sustainable Development Report, partnerships and small island developing states. This only one reading you have, they have just given you what they are trying to do. So, basically the key, key committee which is actually working towards the implementation of this SDGs is this Division of Sustainable Development Goals, okay, in the United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs. So, they are providing all the kind of support that is requiring for SDG, okay, for the implementation of this. Okay, then SDG play a key role in the evaluation of UN system-wide implementation of the 2030 agenda and on the advocacy and outreach activities relating to SDGs. Okay, so basically here they are telling that by 2030 the agenda has to be achieved. So I told you this basically are those 17 SDGs on which they want to see considerable impact or considerable development on these particular goals by every country, be developing country, be developed countries. On this particular areas, there has to be significant development coming up by the year 2030. So it's considered to be a 2030 agenda. Clear? All right. Now look at the 17 SDGs. Basically, all the UN member nations, okay, have targeted to achieve sustainable development in all these 17 areas, okay, up to or by 2030. Okay, that is the understanding. So let us pick up one by one. First, no poverty. No poverty as in, obviously, you understand, okay, there has to be no poverty absolutely, and if there is no poverty, obviously there will be no hunger. So first concentration is to eradicate poverty, and then is completely to bring hunger to zero. That means no person should starve, no person should starve to death, nobody should sleep empty stomach, and that is what the understanding is. So first is no poverty, and understand if poverty goal is achieved, obviously second goal also will be achieved. If everybody has money, obviously they will be able to make living for them. So basically it will be zero hunger. Then good health and well-being. Okay, so the third goal is everybody should have the facility for good health and well-being. Then quality education, okay, next goal. Then gender equality. Gender equality as in male and female will be considered to be the same, no difference, okay, like the earlier generations where there was a big discrimination in this area. So now that should not be there, gender equality has to be there. Clean water and sanitization, okay. Then affordable and clean energy. Affordable and clean energy means affordable in the sense every person should be able to enjoy the benefit of that particular source that you have come up with. Like suppose if there is an energy available but it is so expensive that you cannot do it, okay, cannot use it, then in that case what is the point of it? So energy should not only be clean, it should also be affordable. Clean energy is where it is going to be an energy which is generated wherein we are going to reduce the impact on the environment, negative impact on the environment. For example, instead of using coal and all for the generation of electricity, like how we told the example of solar panels, windmills and all for the purpose of generating the energy and all. So here the impact that you are going to have on the environment is going to be negligible. Or maybe a kind of product or those kind of technologies where carbon emission or greenhouse gases emission is going to be completely zero. Those are considered to be what? Clean energy. So there has to be clean energy also, and there has to be a affordable pricing for it. That should be understood. Okay. Now also we talk about, when you talk about clean energy, we also talk about the point where you're telling, try to use something which is, a good cooling transportation. A cooling transportation as in move towards electric vehicles and not the ones which are using fuel and all that, because those again become very scarce, and those are again going to be, if they are depleted, then in that case it will be a problem for the environment. So try to shift it. That's considered to be what? Clean energy. Okay. So next is considered to be affordable and clean energy. Then decent work and economic growth. Obviously when persons get decent work, okay, economic growth is going to be there. Economically where finances are growing. Okay. So decent work for every person and also economic growth. Industry, innovation and infrastructure, this is the goal actually required, because if this grows, automatically everywhere else the growth is going to be. If industry innovation is there, there is going to be decent work for everybody, everybody will economic growth. Correct? So basically that is the understanding. Then reduced inequality. Reduced inequality is not only it is going to be male and female, where we call to be gender inequality. It is also based on the caste, creed, everything. Okay, status. All of these have to be completely eliminated. Okay, so that is also considered to be one of the goals, and it is important because this goal, if it is not achieved, then the generation to generation, if we pass on this particular aspect, it is never going to be sustainable aspect. Okay, so inequalities have to be eliminated. Sustainable cities and communities, meaning is do not be dependent on anybody else. You should have such kind of city developed, such kind of communities developed where you're independent. Everything should be self-generative. That's called sustainable. Okay, not depending on anybody. Responsible consumption and production. So consumers also should be responsible and producers also should be responsible towards whatever they're doing. So responsible consumption, responsible production. Nothing should be impacting the environment and nothing should be detrimental to the environment. That has to be taken care of. Then comes to climate action. Okay, whatever you do, the impact of that on the climate, okay, that is also to be taken as a part of sustainable development goals. Life below water, that is considered to be your marine ecosystem. Okay, here we can understand that businesses actually send contaminated water to the rivers, oceans, seas directly, through which the marine life is getting badly affected. Ocean acidification is very bad, okay, it's getting acidic, for which the survival of the fishes and everything inside is getting very, very bad. There are so many creatures living underwater. All of that get very badly affected if there is acidification of this ocean water. Okay, and this happens only because of all the toxins coming from all these factories and all these industries and all. So because of that, the water is getting completely contaminated and the life underwater, below water is also completely getting destroyed. So that has to be taken care of, because understand, we are living in an ecosystem, a life cycle is there. One part of the life cycle gets affected, everything will get affected. So in the goals, they have also taken life below water, and obviously important one that we are talking about is also life on land also. So it is life on land, that is we, animals, everybody, and also life below water, which is going to be the marine ecosystem. Okay, then along with that, peace, justice and strong institutions, these have to be focused on. Okay, then finally partnership for the goals. So basically all the people should come together. We say, sabka saath, sabka vikas. So together we'll be able to achieve it better. So together everybody should strive for these achievement of goals. So these are considered to be what? The 7 sustainable development goals. Understand, you have no other option than to remember this. Okay, I would recommend that you actually learn all the 17 point by point properly, and these have to be learned with the respective serials only, one after the other. Okay, let's have one effort of understanding, just a chain to make so that you can remember it. See, first of all, if there is no poverty, there will not be any hunger. If there is no hunger, the health of the people will be good and they'll be having well-being. Okay, if everything is supported, then they'll be focusing on quality education. If everybody is educated, there will be gender equality, because male and female, everybody will get educated. So obviously gender equality. With their knowledge that they have obtained, obviously everybody wants clean water and sanitization. Nobody will prefer anything which is unhygienic, correct? Then this is with respect to first category. Then you move on to the industrial development. Okay, then affordable and clean energy. Okay, then based on that, you'll be able to acquire decent work, okay, and economic growth for every person. For decent work and economic growth, there has to be development in the industry. So industry, innovation and infrastructure has to be developed. Everybody should get equal opportunity of working, so reduced inequality. Once everybody starts working, everything will happen within the city itself. So sustainable cities and communities. Okay, and whatever is there within is very limited. So you have to responsibly consume it and responsibly produce it also. Correct? So we can stop this here. Then we'll focus on environment. In environment, you're going to have climate actions have to be taken as a part of your SDG. When you talk about climate, they are going to get affected by people on the earth and below the earth. So it is life below water and life on the land. Then when there are any problems happening, there has to be peace, justice and strong institutions, and these will all operate if they are working together. So partnership for the goals together. Okay. So just try to create a chain and try to remember them one after the other. Okay. So quickly. Okay, I'm just repeating it again and again only because it has to freeze in your mind. If there is no poverty, there will be no hunger. If there is no hunger, there is going to be good health and well-being. If that is there, we can focus on quality education. Nobody will be sick, obviously. So everybody can go to schools regularly. So quality education. Then based on that, you'll have gender equality. Once you are educated, okay, then you'll be having the understanding of the importance of clean water and sanitization. This will be with regard to first category. Then affordable and clean energy will be generated. People will be able to procure decent work, and based on that, economic growth will be there. However, for that we require industrial innovation and infrastructure for us. Then reduce inequality, everybody will be in the position of work together. Based on that, you'll be able to generate a sustainable community, a sustainable business environment that is going to be your city. Because it is going to be within your city and community, you have to have a responsible production also, responsible consumption also. Correct? Then stop the discussion there, then go to the next one. We'll talk only about environment. When you talk about the climate change, which can affect because of people, that is life below the earth, that is below the water, below the land, and then life on the land. Correct? Then after that, we discuss about peace, justice, and all the other institutions, and all of these have to collaborate and work together. So partnership in achieving the goals. So these are the 17 SDGs that are required, okay, to be achieved. So the UN mission is basically all these countries together have decided that on these goals they are going to have their immediate action plan designed, and by 2030 they are going to make a considerable impact on all these 17 areas. Okay, for example, please remember the 17 properly along with the respective serial numbers. Why I am telling you serial number is important is because later when we are going to discuss about initiatives taken by ICAI for these areas, you will see that ICAI has issued a separate guidance note for SDG 1 to SDG 5. Separate guidance note for SDG 6 to SDG 10, like that. So basically you can understand by that only that SDG 1 means no poverty, SDG 10 means reduced inequality. So basically the SDG number and the kind of criteria should go hand in hand. So the numbering here becomes very important. Clear? Alright. Now let us talk about the 9 principles. These 9 principles I told you, all 17 SDGs we have formulated in a manner where we are covering them through 9 principles. So obviously these 9 principles are going to have some from environment, some from society, and some are going to be based on governance. Okay, so if you look at it, 2 are focusing on environment, 3 are focusing on social, and 4 are focusing on governance. Okay, this structure you don't have to remember, it is just for a basic understanding. 2 on environment, 3 on social, 4 on governance. Okay, the 9 principles in BRSR are categorized into ESG components, and ESG components are what? 2 in environment, 3 in social, 4 in governance. Even though they are separate, that is 9 principles have been given to you, they are interrelated to each other. Like for example, there is one which talks about environmental protection. One principle is about environmental protection, and one principle is about stakeholders protection and inclusive growth. So understand, if environment is protected, only then you will be having the inclusive growth of everybody. So these 2 are separate principles, but are they not interrelated? Yes. So basically these principles, though they are separate, there is somewhere or the other interrelationship between them. So now first pick up the names of the principles. After we pick up the names, we go on to the discussion of the core elements there. So look at the names of it, which you have to learn them the way they are. Okay. First principle is ethics, transparency, and accountability. The business should carry out their operations keeping into mind the integrity aspect. That is, they should work ethically, they should give transparency, that is transparent information to all their stakeholders, and they should be accountable for the work done by them. So we have ethics, transparency, and accountability. Okay, that means ethics should not be compromised in any of your policies and practices. You should give transparent disclosures about all your policies, procedures to every stakeholder, and you should be accountable for the actions. Okay, then. Second is talking about consumer interest, where they're telling you have to give your goods which are safe and sustainable. Basically, if you look at it in the material, you have goals, but actually, if you look at the actual reports, annual reports, these are considered to be goods. So the goods and services that you are providing, okay, or the provision of services that you are giving, okay, these have to be safe also and sustainable. Correct? Then. Third, this is focusing on human resource. As of now, focus on understanding, don't try to learn it, it is not going to be possible. We will finish all the 9, and then I am sure all the 9 principles will be automatically learned by you. As of now, focus only on the reading aspect. So third principle is about human resource. But this is concentrating not only on your employees within the organization, but everybody in the value chain. And you know, value chain means from your beginners, that is from your raw material suppliers to the consumers. Everybody who is involved in the value chain. Okay, consumers obviously we don't talk as a part of value chain, but yes, we could say that from the suppliers to the type of distributors. Okay, everybody is involved in the value chain. So their well-being is to be taken care of. Promote well-being of employees also, including those included in your value chain. So everybody from the beginning to the end, everybody's well-being has to be taken care of. Okay, that is the principle 3. Fourth, respect of every stakeholder's interest and responsiveness. So we are going to respect the interest of every stakeholder and respond to their grievances, or be responsive to their actions, okay, to our actions. Principle 5, we talk about human rights. Now we know in India we have constitution giving the human rights. We have national laws talking about human rights. We have international human rights bills also there. So whenever we are having any policies, any procedures set up for an organization, we have to give respect to all these human rights. So respect and promote human rights, principle 5. Principle 6 talks about environment. So you protect and restore back the environment. We know that we are going to use the resources from where? Environment. So we need to protect it also and give it back also, because the entire reporting that we are doing is based on sustainability. And if you are not able to provide sustainable development, then what is the use? So one of the principles is talking about restoration of the environment. So are you only cutting the trees, or also you are also planting the trees? That is also to be reported. Principle 7 is influence on public and regulatory policy. This, when I come to the principle 7, I'll explain you in detail what you talk about it. What is the meaning of it? Principle 8 is talking about inclusive growth and equitable development. Inclusive growth and equitable development is basically focusing upon the society element, social element, where they are telling that when you are living in a society, when you are growing in a society, don't just think about your growth. Your growth should be taken into account every stakeholder's growth also. So whatever you earn, whatever you generate, it has to be equitably shared amongst everybody. So everybody should be growing together, inclusive growth along with, like you grow along with the society, and equitable development as in every stakeholder's development also should be considered. So individually you can't operate, you're not going to operate in isolation, you're going to operate in the society. So basically inclusive growth means you grow along with the society. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. Principle 9 we talk about provide value to the consumers in a responsible manner. So consumers, whatever you do, see that you are acting in a very responsible manner. So that is the reason here we are going to talk about, when you give any product, if it is having any kind of hazardous impact, a very clear disclaimer has to be given on the products. If they have any doubt regarding anything, then a toll-free number or a particular number has to be given so that they connect back to the company for any of their problems. So basically we are going to give some kind of, we are going to act very responsibly towards the consumers. So are we doing that or not? That is going to be the 9th principle on which we are reporting. Okay. So basically, if you look at the second one is about the safe goods and services, or maybe sustainable goods and services. So this and responsible manner of dealing with the consumers, both will go hand in hand. So 2nd and 9 both talk about consumers aspect only, correct? So look at that once again. I just want it to be repeated because this has to be remembered. So first is about ethics, transparency, accountability, very clear. Second, safe and sustainable goals and services. You please remember the term as goals, though it appropriate word used there should be goods. But here in the material it is given as goals. Okay, suggested answer also will have goals only. So because of that, for the exam, principle 2 will be safe and sustainable goals and services. Principle 3 will talk about promoting well-being of all the employees, including those included in the value chain. Then only about employees you don't think about all the stakeholders and also respond to them. Everybody should be having a understanding about the human rights, so protect and promote the human right. Environment, very important, to protect the environment and restore back the environment. Public and regulatory policies, if you are giving a contribution, if you give in responsible manner. You have to promote inclusive growth and equitable development. Everybody should grow together. And then consumers you have to respond to in a very responsible manner. Okay, so these are the 9 principles.